So I was digging in my garden the other day, and I found this weird root thing sticking out of the soil, like it was trying to play hide and seek with me. I thought, wait, how does a tree even know where to put its roots if it can't see anything? Is it like a tree version of a blindfolded chef trying to make a souffle? Maybe roots are like a tree's version of a GPS, but instead of satellites, they use, well, I don't know, maybe the ground's vibe. But here's the thing. Trees don't have eyes, so they must be using some kind of sixth sense, or maybe just a really good guess. So I thought, I need to know how trees grow roots in the dark. Because if they can do it, maybe I can too, with less soil and more coffee. Okay, so we're talking about trees, right? And how they grow roots in the dark. Wait, trees don't have eyes, so how do they know which way to dig? Imagine you're in a dark room, trying to dig a hole without a compass. You just randomly poke around until you hit something solid. Trees are like that, but way more patient. Roots are like tree fingers, reaching out in all directions, but they don't just grab random dirt. They're basically doing a tiny version of follow the light, but in the opposite direction. It's not that they're trying to find water or nutrients, it's more like they're just doing what they do. Like how your toes know how to walk without you thinking about it. So we're really asking, how do plants, which are basically just cells with no brain, figure out which way to grow in the dark? Like, how do they even know they're supposed to dig down? We're not talking about magic or GPS. We're talking about biology and some seriously cool, low-tech detective work by plants. Let's dive into that. You think trees are just sitting there, doing nothing? No, they're actually super smart. They're like, I need to find water, and I need to do it without seeing anything. So yeah, even though it's dark down there, the tree knows exactly where to go. It's like a blindfolded person walking toward a light, but with more roots and less drama. And here's the kicker. The roots don't just go straight down. They actually take a bunch of weird turns, like a drunk squirrel on a treadmill, trying to find the best route to water. But guess what? Those roots are basically the tree's lifeline. They're like the tree's veins, carrying water and nutrients, and also holding the whole tree up. Without them, you'd have a sad, wobbly plant. So next time you're in a forest, remember, those roots are basically the tree's GPS, and you're the one who gets to enjoy the shade. That's the real magic of trees. They're doing all the work, and you're just chilling under their umbrella. Okay, so trees have been growing roots in the dark for like, forever. Back when dinosaurs were still in the early stages of being, roots were like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. Imagine a tree trying to find the ground like a kid in a dark room. It's like, where's the floor? I can't see anything, but I've got to get to the soil. And guess what? They didn't need GPS or a map, just some kind of built-in sense of direction, like a tree version of I'm going to dig until I hit something. So over millions of years, trees got really good at this whole digging in the dark thing. They evolved like, we're not going to stop until we're underground and safe. So yeah, roots in the dark, that's basically the whole story of trees. They're like, we're gonna do it, even if we can't see where we're going. So, trees don't see the ground, but they sure know where to dig. It's like they're playing a game of follow the dots, but with dirt and roots. They use the roots like a feeler, like a tree's version of a whisker. It's not about sight, it's about touch and smell. The roots go where there's water and nutrients, like a tree's GPS. It's not a straight line, it's more like a tree trying to find the best path through a maze. They even use gravity to help them down, like a tree trying to walk straight down a slide. It's like they're just going with the flow. So, even though it's dark, trees are basically super smart dirt detectives. They don't need eyes, they just need to feel their way down and find the good stuff. So, trees are like the ultimate rooters, right? They don't need a GPS or a compass, just a bunch of soil and a little patience. The roots are like the tree's underground feet, grabbing hold of water, minerals, and maybe a little dirt to call their own. But how do they even know where to start? It's not like they can see the soil or read a map. Well, they rely on chemical signals and a bit of brute force. It's like a drunk toddler trying to dig a hole in the dark. So, the roots basically go random direction and hope they hit something. It's like throwing darts at a wall, but with dirt. Okay, so the roots don't see the dark, but they sure know how to handle it. They've got this superpower called gravitropism, which is basically saying down, down, down to the gravity. Imagine if your phone told you to walk south every time you opened it. That's basically what gravity does to roots. It's like a constant voice in their head saying dig down. But roots aren't just going straight down. They also have to find water and nutrients, which is like looking for the nearest gas station in a desert. They sniff it out. So roots use gravity to get down, but they also use chemicals to find food. It's like having a GPS and a hunger signal all at once. And if the soil gets too dry or too wet, they can even adjust their growth direction. Like, okay, maybe down isn't the way to go today. So in the dark, roots are basically doing a secret mission, digging, sensing, and surviving without a map. Pretty impressive for something they can't see. Okay, so roots are like the tree's legs, but way more boring. They don't need light, they just need soil and water. And guess what? They're actually really good at finding their way through the dirt. But how do they know which way to go? Well, they use something called gravitropism. Like, they feel gravity and go down. It's like the tree's version of I'm going to sleep now. But wait, roots don't just go straight down. They branch out, like a tree branching out into leaves. They're kind of like a really bad GPS trying to find the nearest water source. And here's the real twist. Roots can sense chemicals in the soil. If there's more nutrients down there, they'll go that way. It's like the tree's version of I'm hungry, I need food. So in the end, roots are like the tree's secret underground army. They're not fancy, they don't need light, and they're really good at getting the job done. Just like your average, hard-working, slightly confused tree. Okay, so trees don't just guess where to put their roots. They actually use some really cool biology to figure out which way to go. Even when it's pitch black down there, they have something called auxin, which is like a chemical GPS that tells them which direction to grow. It's basically their version of a road map. And guess what? They can even sense gravity. That's why roots grow downward, like a tree trying to hug the ground and say, I'm staying put. So you know it's dark, the tree's supposed to do the lower version and I lost that road at land. It's like if your phone had a compass and a GPS, and it was trying to dig a hole without ever seeing the light. So next time you see a tree, remember, it's got a whole underground team of root ninjas doing their thing in the dark. So here's the thing. Roots are like a tree's GPS system. They don't need sunlight to figure out where to go. They just follow the map of soil and water. Imagine if your phone could find your way home even if it was turned off. That's basically what roots do, just with more dirt and less battery life. They don't see the dark, but they feel it, like a blind person feeling their way through a hallway, one step at a time. It's like if you were told to walk straight, but you had to do it without looking, and you just kept going, even if you hit a wall or a puddle. And if you ever find yourself in a dark forest, just remember, roots are like the invisible hikers in your soil, finding their way home, one step at a time. So you think roots just randomly guess where to go? No, they're like GPS in a maze, but with dirt and water. They use chemical signals and gravity to figure out which way to dig. It's like a tree texting its roots, hey, go left, I'm in a hole. Roots can even sense when the soil is too dry and slow down, like a tree on a diet. But they never stop eating. And if the soil gets too salty or toxic, roots can detect that too. Like, ugh, this soil tastes like a bad pizza. So yeah, roots don't just grow in the dark. They're like tree ninjas, stealthily searching for the perfect underground home. Okay, so the first myth is that trees just guess where the water is. No, they don't guess. They actually feel the water with their roots like a blind person feeling for a doorknob. Roots are like tree fingers. They touch the soil, sense moisture, and go in the direction of water. It's not magic, it's science with a side of dirt. Some people think roots are just for holding the tree up. But no, roots are like a tree's Wi-Fi. They connect to water, nutrients, and even other trees in the soil. Quick word from our sponsor. If this sounds like something you'd enjoy, take a look at the Kindle Paperwhite e-reader. There's a link and a QR code on screen right now, and in the description below. Alright, back to it. So the idea that roots grow in the dark is kind of true, but they don't need darkness to find water. They just need to sense it, like a GPS for the underground. So the myth is busted. Roots don't just grow in the dark, they grow toward the water. Trees are like nature's GPS, using roots to find their way underground. Okay, so here's another myth. Trees just randomly guess where the water is. No, they don't. They actually have a map in their heads. Like, they're not just blindfolded and stumbling around. They're using some kind of internal GPS. Turns out, roots grow in the direction of water and nutrients, like they're following a trail. It's like if you were hiking and your phone kept telling you left, left, left. There's a campsite ahead. But here's the thing, trees aren't just following a trail. They're also using gravity to figure out which way is down. Like if you dropped a pencil, it'd fall straight down, and so do the roots. So, no, trees don't just blindly grow roots in the dark. They're actually pretty smart, using a mix of signals like a tree that's got a compass and a GPS, but also a really strong sense of direction. So, next time you see a tree, imagine it's like a superhero, digging through the soil with a plan, not just random guesswork. That's how they find water, even in the dark. So, you're probably thinking, wait, trees can find water in the dark? What about me? Can I find my way in the dark too? Well, you're not a tree, but you can still use some of the same tricks. Like how you use your phone's flashlight to find a way. Trees use their roots to feel the ground and sense where water is. It's like they're using a super sensitive nose for soil. And just like you might dig for something in the dark, trees dig down and out until they hit water. It's not magic. It's just really good detective work. Next time you're in a dark room, think about how your body is doing the same thing, sensing, moving, and finding the way without seeing. It's kind of cool, really. So, even though you can't see the roots, you're still using the same kind of dark detective skills as a tree. Maybe next time, you can find your way without a flashlight. Probably. So here's the real kicker: trees don't just randomly guess where to put their roots. They actually use a kind of underground GPS. It's like they're playing a game of hide and seek, but with dirt and water. Imagine if your phone told you exactly where to dig for buried treasure. Trees have something like that, but with roots and soil. They follow the water, even if it's just a little bit. But here's the thing: some trees are really bad at this. They'll dig in the wrong spot, like trying to plant a tree in a desert and expecting it to find water. It's a mess, literally. And then there are the smart ones. They don't just follow water, they plan ahead. They know where the best spots are, like a tree that builds a house with a swimming pool. It's a whole ecosystem under the ground. So next time you see a tree, imagine it's not just standing there. It's got a whole underground army of roots, all working hard to find water, even in the dark. It's like a ninja squad with a water filter. So here's the real wild card: some trees can grow roots deeper than the Great Wall of China. I mean, we're talking 100 feet straight down, like a tree with a tiny drill and a bad sense of direction. And these roots, they're not just sticking out, they're like tree tentacles wrapping around rocks and cracks, like a kid trying to tie their shoelaces in the dark. Some trees even grow roots so fast they can outpace a sprinter. Like, they're not just growing, they're sprinting, doing a slow motion dance of survival. But here's the kicker: these roots don't just go deep, they go everywhere. It's like the tree is playing hide and seek with the soil, and the soil is always winning. So next time you see a tree, remember it's not just standing there. It's digging, stretching, and basically doing the whole I'm alive thing, even in the dark. Okay, so roots are like the tree's Wi-Fi signal, trying to connect to the ground. But sometimes the signal goes haywire and starts digging in the wrong direction. Imagine your phone trying to connect to a hotspot that's not even on. Roots go through the same thing, randomly poking around until they find something solid. Sometimes they dig too deep and hit rock, where they go sideways and get stuck in a wall of dirt. It's like trying to find a way through a maze of dirt and rocks. If the roots can't find water or nutrients, the tree gets thirsty and hungry, like when you forget to eat and your phone dies. But trees are resilient, like a kid who keeps trying to climb a wall even when they're stuck. They keep digging, even if it's messy and slow. So trees are like, I'm gonna grow roots in the dark, no problem. But the downside is they can't see where they're going. Imagine trying to build a house in the dark with no blueprint. You might end up digging straight into a rock or a tree root. Not ideal. And if they mess up, they might grow roots in the wrong direction. Like trying to walk through a maze with your eyes closed. You end up going in circles or crashing into walls. Trees do that too. Also, they can't see if there's a puddle of water nearby, so they might grow roots in the dirt and miss out on a whole lake of water. That's like me walking into a room and not seeing the fridge. I'm thirsty, and worst of all, they can't tell if they're growing roots in a place where other roots are already taking up space. It's like a party where everyone is trying to grab the same snack. Pass! So while the tree's roots are doing their thing in the dark, they're also risking a lot. But hey, they've got a whole system for sensing stuff they can't see. It's like having a sixth sense for dirt. So, how did humans even figure out how trees grow roots in the dark? Well, it turns out, they had to dig up a tree and look at the roots. Like, literally. Imagine trying to figure out how a plant works by pulling it out of the ground and staring at its legs. And guess what? The roots weren't just randomly spread out. They were going in the direction of water and nutrients, like a plant version of a GPS. But how did they know? They didn't have a map, they had a sense. Scientists had to do a lot of digging, like, a lot. They would plant trees in boxes, track where the roots went, and then try to reverse engineer the whole thing. It was like detective work with dirt. They even used things like radioactive tracers to see how roots moved over time. Like, they'd spray the tree with glitter and then watch it sparkle underground. It's wild how they figured it out. So yeah, even though trees are like blindfolded, they still manage to find their way. And humans had to be the ones to help them navigate. It's like the tree's version of a GPS, but with more dirt and less signal. Okay, so what if a tree gets buried alive? Like, imagine a tree is growing and then a landslide or a construction crew just covers it up. It's like a tree's version of being stuck in a sand trap. But trees are super stubborn. They'll start growing roots straight up through the dirt, like trying to punch through a wall. It's like a root trying to escape a prison, but with more patience. So they might grow in circles or even loop back on themselves, like a confused caterpillar trying to eat its own tail. Eventually, though, the roots will find some light or water and then they'll go back to being normal. But until then, it's just a root doing its best in the dark. What if we took this root growing power and went full sci-fi? Imagine a tree that could sense where the water is and dig straight to it, like a plant version of a mole. We could engineer forests that automatically grow roots wherever there's moisture, like a plant that never forgets where the bathroom is. It's like giving plants a GPS, but with dirt and roots. You could have trees that map out underground water sources like a natural Google Earth. But here's the catch. If you make trees too smart about finding water, they might ignore the surface and become like the underground version of a lazy human. So maybe we should just let trees be weird and go where they want. After all, they're like the Earth's version of a kid who just wants to dig in the sandbox. So, imagine if your favorite pizza had to find its way to the oven in total darkness. It would be like a blindfolded raccoon trying to navigate a maze of cheese slices. Trees do something similar, but with roots and soil. But trees don't just randomly dig around like a toddler in a sandbox. They use chemical signals and gravity to figure out which way to go. It's like a really slow, plant version of GPS. If you think about it, roots are like the tree's invisible hands. They're reaching out, feeling the soil, and trying to grab water and nutrients. It's like a plant version of a treasure hunt. Quick word from our sponsor. If this sounds like something to enjoy, take a look at the Amazon Echo Dot 5th smart speaker. There's a link and a QR.
Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.